All right, everybody, I'm in Bowling Green, Ohio, USA, and this is my first time here. And like I said, I've been talking about for the Miles Beyond 300 road shows as well. When you see that T-shirt and it says it's a Bowling Green thing, you wouldn't understand, and I get that now. I've experienced it. I'm with Kevin Dick right now, a Legends in Ohio, and we're sitting in we're underneath the grandstand on the south side.
Yes.
Kevin, what's this called exactly? This area that we're at?
Well, this would be the Pullers Museum for the tractors that actually are not on Sunday. The annex southeast of here is housing the tractors that will be pulling on Sunday that meet the safety regulations to pull with the Legends Series.
Awesome. So they're an actual Legends Series?
There is, yes, and we have our own set of rules. The rules were designed so we could get insurance.
Yep.
And so we had to come up to snuff on the safety with the bell housings and the driveline covers and the torque converters and the transmission covers and the flywheels, etc., so that we want to keep everybody safe. So we had to update on the things that might get somebody hurt.
Cool, and that's great because I didn't know that at all, and I wondered how they did that because the safety of the sport is so important, and a lot of the accidents have happened and I use the word brush pulls all the time. I don't know what else to call them, Kevin, but where the safety equipment isn't enforced and stuff like that, like flywheels coming, the non-steel flywheels, different things like the old cast stuff, and that's where people have been hurt. And luckily, and cool, that's neat that the Legend Series is doing it. Is there a Facebook page or a website or anything for it, Kevin?
Yeah, there is a website. It's pullinglegends.com, and the way we designed the rules is we took a 1979 rule book and kind of massaged it up to today's safety. And the reason we took the 79 rule book is to consider it a legend, the tractor has to have been built in 1980 or older.
Okay, so it's kind of like collector plates for your car.
That's correct. Exactly.
So tell us about your tractors and why Legends pullers.
I have one in action right now. It's called the Spirit of 76. It's a cockshot 40 rear end with a supercharged Hemi that was originally built by Ram Chargers in Detroit, Michigan in 1974. Ram Chargers were pretty instrumental in the Nitro Funny cars in the early 70s on the NHRA, and they built that engine back then. This spring I what was the last Little American. There was 4 of them, but I have the very last one that had the single camera blown Ford motor in it, although it doesn't have one of those in it yet because they're quite cost prohibitive, but I did restore it to be able to put it in the museum this weekend here at Bowling Green.
That's awesome. So what is the passion behind you doing all this, Kevin? What drives you?
Well, I kind of grew up around it. Like I tell people, if I had known I was having this much fun, I would have paid more attention because I'm 53 and I've been here 50 years. I was 4 years old the first time. My dad was a mechanic for Gaylord Zeckman that was one of the guys instrumental in getting the National Tractor Pulling Championships off the ground. He's a picture of him in this month's Puller magazine, the August Puller magazine. And not being able to have the time and the money to go pulling you need, as you know, Jason, you need a lot of money, a lot of time, and a lot of people to be successful, and then you have to run your equipment hard. And I just feel fortunate to be able to preserve some of the history and still compete on the Legends Tour or exhibition runs on the Legends Tour, and kind of preserve the sport for the younger folks that weren't around to be able to see it back in the 60s and 70s.
To know how the sport started, and luckily I've been going to pulls. I'm 40 now. I've been going to pulls since 1980, as long as I can remember. And speaking, there's my dad calling me right now. So he's the reason I'm so love pulling so much. My divorced when I was in 8th grade, 14 years old, and I moved to Wisconsin. My dad still farms in Iowa. But how do you get a 14, 15-year-old, 16-year-old kid to leave his buddies every other weekend and stuff like that, Kevin? And that's what pulling has meant to me. And then the people that I've met in the sport. And I thought I knew a lot of people, and then I got to Bowling Green, and holy cow, it's been a neat experience. So with the Legends Series, is there any way that, do you book polls, or can people hire you? How does that work?
Yeah, absolutely. A promoter can contact us, and we can come to your event, and we can come with the number of vehicles that you wish. We're probably going to be in the low 20s here shortly that are up to snuff on the rules and able to make exhibition runs on the series. But if somebody only wants 5 or 6 of us, we'll find 5 or 6 guys that want to go and accommodate the promoter in that way.
Cool. I'm gonna hit pause for a second. Let's keep going. All right, everybody, I'm with Kevin Dick here, and we're underneath the grandstands. This is the Tractor Pulling Museum for the Legend Series. I say that right, Kevin?
That's correct.
Kevin's from Tiffin, Ohio, and again, my name is Jason Schultz with the Beer Money Pulling Team, and I'm learning a lot about the legends. You know, I've seen all the pictures in the Puller magazine, and honestly, that's as close as I am to it, Kevin, to be honest, until I met you today. And I want to thank the Vinny family for getting us connected. They were down somewhere in Indiana, right, or Ohio for a PPL Champions Tour pull, and they bumped into you, and we traded numbers and stuff like that.
Right.
So it's great to interview you because there are so many great people in the sport, and like we talked a little bit before when we're not recording, it's too bad we don't get like the TV coverage. You know, the 80s were the glory days.
Yes.
The Red Man, the TNT, the USHRA, the stuff like that. You know, like Allen Gaines, and like that was more of like an exhibition, wasn't it back then?
Yeah, it was purely exhibition, I think, but they drew just huge crowds. You see some of the photographs of those pulls from years past, and you see them in Tampa Stadium and out in California and indoors in Utah and stuff like that. And it's just was amazing, the crowds that they could draw, and they were on ESPN at the time and had great coverage back in those days. And hopefully we can recycle that and bring that back and get some more of the coverage like that. The MAV TV and the RFD, they do a good job, but we're about the history of it. The legends are trying to preserve that and show people what it was like years ago that might not have been able to see it, or they're younger and they weren't around yet. So giving a little exposure to the past.
Yeah, no, I'm super jacked to meet you. Your passion, Kevin, and you're surrounded with great people. Obviously, Mike Ott, he's the big blue shirt. I call him the big blue shirt.
He is.
You got to have a leader like that to make the tough calls, to make the tough decisions. You're not always going to be the most popular guy, but you got to get it done. So we're going to wrap it up here because otherwise people won't be able to hear us anymore. But thank you for your time.
Absolutely.
We'll go get some pictures of your tractors and put them on the interview. Thanks. What's the website again?
It's pullinglegends.com. We're still in the process of updating that. Jeremy Krieger's doing that for us, and we need to be a little bit better contact with Jeremy and getting him some more information. But I did speak to him yesterday, and we're going to get to the website and get it up to snuff a little bit better.
And if you're listening to the show or a puller, it helps. You talk about, you could bring some legend vehicles possibly to your event. That brings in a whole another set of fans as well. You can talk about these are the legends that happened at Bowling Green. So look at the marketing perspective of that as well as a promoter. So everybody, thanks for listening, and I'm gonna go get some great Kevin, and have a great day.
He has a lot of fun with this tractor. He gets out there and he'll get with it. Kevin's here out of Tiffin, Ohio. And then when it goes down the track, it's like a steam engine. It goes a little like this, all the way down the track. And like Harold said, there's no rear end in this thing. So he's going to hit the first hit the track. He gets that thing up in the air. Whatever way the track's going to